Oh,
Yeah,
the dance.
here we go. We're live.
And we are live another Friday night with our lovely sip and chat and Queen April. I guess we rocking it out with our people joining in with us as they can. So it's the Friday night sip and chat with relationship flow.
Mhm.
And how you doing, Queen April?
I'm good, Mary.
We we got Queen LaJoya jumping in with us. How you doing, LaJoya?
Here she is.
Okay, maybe not just yet. What you sipping on tonight?
Me, I am sipping on some seven deadly sins.
Oh,
Zins, actually.
Ooh,
is that what it's called? Seven Deadly Sins?
Seven deadly zins.
Oh, Seven
ZINS.
Deadly Sins.
sound like I
Is
didn't be
that
baptized
wine?
in it.
Never happened, so I'm gonna see how dirty it does me.
Oh, okay. Dirty Sin. Doc, how you rocking with us tonight?
I am
What you
so
sipping on?
irked right now with my computer, but
Th-
I have the
Me?
right drink for that.
Okay.
Sipping on some
Tonight I'm
Patron.
not sipping anything until later, I guess.
I was going to make a margarita, but I said, why add the calories?
Just rock it out with some
Just rock it
Patron.
out. Yes, just rock it out
Uh,
straight.
Some of that.
oh goodness.
Nothing on
And
the
you know, I have my hot and cold, but I'm not dirty tonight. So I'm glad that y'all zenning it out and patroning it out because it's just some nice, lovely tea, iced tea.
Nice. That's right.
So
We switch it up every now and then.
every now and then, you know, I could have and probably should have with the way that I've served the community this week, but you know, I decided to just lay low. Maybe another day this week. I don't know. But this week we are serving the community sip and chat with the conversation and discussion flow of have you outgrown your partner and can you find your way back? You know, that's a real question. Have you outgrown your partner and are you able to find your way back? There's so many different scenarios on how you may have outgrown your partner and if you're able to find your way back because you know when the children grow and they grow through different cycles because it could be elementary, middle, high school, but if they've gone away to college and beyond, that could look a lot differently. But then also if you have matured and changed through health concerns, oh doc. If you have
Out.
changed through health concerns or like changed professions and different things have like, you know, shifted or matured in different situations, or if you got some sexual discovery situations happening, both good and indifferent, happening or interest and been enlightened to learn more, that can also change a way that you have outgrown your partner. So, which way you guys want to jump into this conversation about, you know, outgrowing your partner? Because, you know, here we are nationwide going into another quarantine
Mm.
as well as the holiday season. How we jumping into this conversation with that deep sigh starting it off?
I don't know if people can do it. We have to, but I don't know if people are ready for another quarantine second round. They
A
barely made
second
it through the
round,
first. Most people,
and they didn't even get a chance
yeah,
to recover.
they ain't even get their chance to get their feet wet.
Right. They didn't.
Celebrities, regular people, around the way people, it's kind of like,
Around the way people.
like, I don't like you like that. Or I thought I liked you, thought I loved you, thought I was in love with you, but deuces.
Right.
Hmm.
And we're still trying to get the account together and get established enough that they can really make that change that they needed to make. And it's like, well, depending on where you are, but I'm gonna say the dates for where we are. Well, some of us, because not everybody on this call is in this location. Um, November 20th to January the 1st. Like that's a long time to have to deal with quarantine again.
Well, we just got to, ride the bull the best way we know how, the best way we can, and, try to stay on the bull.
I know.
I was watching Tamron show earlier, and Neo and his wife, they were having some difficulties, and COVID hit. Actually, I think just before they were quarantined, one of them may have been Neo. I'm not even sure. I don't keep up with their drama like that, but one of them had filed for a divorce. But then COVID hit, and Neo was like, I'm going back home because if anything happens, I want to be with my family. So I think that, this situation, this climate, this COVID, this pandemic, kind of forces us to test or to take a look at our relationships and see if we have actually outgrown. In their case, no, they hadn't outgrown each other. I guess they thought they did. I think there was some infidelity issues there, but but we're going in round 2. So whatever you didn't fix in round 1, you have an opportunity to fix in round 2.
You saying get
you gotta knock your problems out. Well, like kind of really like dig, like like the little, I don't know, cattle, bulls, dig your hooves in, horses, whatever.
Right.
Really dig deep in the ground.
Right.
And get settled up to get ready to fight for your relationships, fight for your friendships.
Right.
Just fight to stay alive, like every day, because it really does more in your mental, I think. You like round 2, I'm in the house again, looking at these eggshell, dusty walls. I'm not saying people walls are dusty. You know how I am. I'm just
right.
And I gotta be in here and I can't go nowhere, can't do nothing.
Right.
People are like, rights have been taken. This is not right. This is not fair. This is not life. A lot of people like F a mask, but I think they're important. But I'm just saying, this is what I'm hearing. Like, these are my personal freedoms. People are feeling like that.
But so like if they're saying all of these things is happening in the house, what part do they even look in the mirror to say that they play a role in how it got to that part? It's easy to put the mirror on the rest of the room of the players of what is going on, but when do you look in the mirror and say, you know what, I could have did some things differently? So like you said, not to that we can compare ourselves to the celebrities, but everybody that, we all played a role to get here. And we all got to play a role that if we take it, if we taking the responsibility to say, can I get back? Then it takes rolling up those sleeves to say, okay, what is it that I can do to contribute to even get to the part of the conversation of my partner considering us even having a peaceful space of, okay, what is it going to be, and us even considering what it would look like for us to be in the same space, because we can share the same space quarantine, holiday season, or even beyond, and begin to cordially speak in the absence of an argument. But what does that look like?
And I have to say that, and I'm going back to Neo and his wife, that's something that they did. She separated herself. She sought out therapy because there was some baggage that she needed to unpack. There was some baggage that he needed to unpack. I think he spent some time away, maybe at his mom's or something like that. But again, he came back to the home. They decided that they were going to, start unpacking their baggage. They each seeked out therapy. She was ready for tonight.
Yeah, that's why she said she was looking forward to this conversation.
Okay. Yeah, but just to touch on what you said regarding, unpacking their individual issues, and that's something that they both did. And you know, we all know that it's a process when you start unpacking your bags and you start unfolding them, especially in front of your partner, or if your partner is helping you to unfold them. But that is something that they did, and Neo made a very, I thought, mature. He made a very mature statement, which was, you know, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically he had to learn that that it just wasn't, they were pointing fingers at each other, but they had to, you know, search within, and you know, that's the first place that we should all go.
She didn't prepare us for why she was so excited for this conversation.
Right. So I'm still dealing with allergies.
It's okay.
Joy, are you just going to hand out through the I can tell you, I don't know about anybody else, but I'm not used to you in the flashcards. You need to say some words, speak words.
And she making me feel like us working 20 years ago, like with her in this whole card thing.
Oh.
So yeah, I like to, and you can tell I'm in education because I like to,
Okay.
Be engaged. I'm engaged. But I will say, I like what you said about Mary. You said looked in the mirror, but then you said April, when you was watching the Tamara show, the couple, they was talking about really like digging deep and really looking at themselves and what they have to figure out. But how, like, with it being the second go round of the pandemic, how deep do we need to dig in terms of looking at ourselves? Like, how far should we go? Because the further you go, the more you dig, the further you go, the more you dig up, the more you have to deal with. So would you suggest like chunking it or in bits and pieces, like a round table? Like, in what kind of way?
It depends on,
like, do I need to figure like
okay. That depends on your relationship, because how far have you let it go that you need to be in the emotional hospital to make it get back to where it needs to be? You know what I mean? Because the repair depends on the emotional instability that it has gotten to. Because I know that, you know, the commitment of therapy is a commitment and it's an investment. So it's like, if you are at that place that that's what you need, that third party, you have to make that investment to say, okay, this is where I'm at. And whatever it takes.
Okay. When you said there's a commitment to therapy, I feel like there's also a commitment of like returning to that space every day. Even though you can't go to many places or do too much, like you can still walk out physically with a mask and go take a walk, or, you know, a mental break, brain break, whatever you want to call it. But would you want to return to that space? It's like you got to face yourself over and over again. So that's even a commitment in itself as well.
Yeah, everybody's situation is different with that, because, you know, depending on the type of work that you do, are you teleworking that you don't even have a reason to go out other than grocery store, you know, or that you're going outside to exercise of some sort and then getting you some vitamin D. So it's like, I think to focus on the quarantine and using the tools of the quarantine as an excuse is an excuse, versus then you actually saying that you really don't want to work on what it is that separated you or how you outgrew from your partner. Because even saying how tension is within the house, like that tension was there way before you got to the point of it being there. Like the quarantine is forcing you to have that captivity to focus on what was uncomfortable before. You had the escape of work that you was able to avoid it. So now it's like, you know, you in the round of confrontation, and confrontation doesn't have to be aggressive, but it is aggressive in the fact that, okay, now what's your escape? What's your reason why you can't have this conversation now?
So question, I do have a question. What if somebody doesn't know that they've outgrown their partner?
I need Doc.
And then one day they wake up, like you can be like, go to sleep and it's all good. You wake up and it's like a epiphany. I was like, oh my gosh.
That's like a personal struggle. When you don't know, but you're still there. Here she is.
Yes, Doc.
There she was.
No, she goes. Oh no.
When we can't identify that we've outgrown someone, I feel like I've been at that place before, where we're just functioning. We're just, functioning day to day. That's an interesting question. I don't know if I have the answer to that, but
I think that if you don't know, I'm sorry, April.
No, go ahead.
I think that if you don't know that you've outgrown your partner, you also don't know what it is where you are. Like you really don't know that you've been really living as a representative of yourself, and you don't truly know who you are.
Girl,
or what it is that you want for yourself.
Yes, I agree.
And that's the reason why you can't see that you've outgrown your partner, or that you all have two different interests, or that you are in two different places, because you haven't been present for the relationship as it is.
I agree. I learned that through my journey.
That makes sense.
I wasn't there for myself. I wasn't there for myself.
Right. So if you're not present for yourself, right, then how can you even know that you're not even present for the rest of the family?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, that's what I think about. Because family, people can so you can have a family that's all consuming. They don't try to be, they just are. The mate and the kid. So when that happens, it's like, oh my gosh. So you really have to put your foot down and take time for yourself to get to know who you are. But you have to work at not losing yourself, because when you lose yourself, you lose your space in that relationship. Like the core of who you are, what you bring to the relationship. So I think that's a good point. I think that's important to still keep a piece of it.
It makes me think about a conversation that I had this week too, where the couple really is a strong and dominant couple, but the way that they are dominant is also the way that they are separate, because they don't recognize, or they're unable to see how they're living two separate lives, and they've lived two separate lives almost within purpose, but it has served them wrong. Like it has served them to a detriment to the wealth of their relationship, because now they're on two different paths, meaning how they see wealth, how they see family time, how they see couples time is two different. It's totally different. And it's not in a collaborative family time type nature. And that's not how each of them view how they're supposed to be. And how am I supposed to fix that? I can't fix that. Y'all got to fix that.
That's a lot to fix.
It's a lot to fix. I was like, I need Doc. Doc, the question they needed, the question that I was like, okay, we needed your input on was, what if the people don't know that they have outgrown each other?
What if they don't know?
Yeah.
I mean,
if they don't know who their authentic self is.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if they don't know that they've outgrown each other, is it a problem? That's the question.
Right. Yeah, I knew you was gonna come with a different perspective. That's why I was like, I need that.
Is it a problem if they don't know if it's working?
But is it working if you don't know?
I mean, it could. I'm sure you've met many a couple.
Absolutely.
Who it seems to be working for them. And they might come to see you about something totally different.
Totally different. And I'll be like, well, what about this elephant that's sitting in the room? And they're like, oh, is that an elephant?
They're thinking thinking, this is fine. This is how we've always done it.
Right. Oh, we got Camp being a teacher tonight. I didn't even see that last note that she got.
Maybe
a teacher showing notes.
Maybe there's an elephant in the room. Is that what you were saying, Joya?
Joya, what'd you write?
Oh, I have maybe, depends, never, sometimes, yes, no. I was gonna put hell no, but I left that out.
But you said it, so.
So I guess the follow-up question to that, Mary, is it necessary to point that out?
Right.
If a couple comes to us and say, we're having some discrepancies about how we're raising our children, and we need to be able to get on the same page about child rearing, and then as they're talking about their relationship, we see that it's not just child rearing; they are on totally different paths, like you said, like this couple.
Right.
So it's not just child rearing; it's a multitude of things. But for them, they're saying that all the other stuff is fine. It's just that we can't agree on how we want to raise our kids. Well, the reality is you guys don't have the same values. So if you don't have the same values, you're going to have a different way of thinking about raising kids.
Absolutely.
So to answer my question, I think sometimes we have to point that out.
Ask your own questions.
Yeah, look at that. We have to point that out. If they don't know, then we have to point that out, because the reality is most couples would think that the issue they're presenting is the only issue.
Right. Or that they're going to be able to continue to be in their representative state, and that they are able to hide it everywhere else. They're going to be able to hide it in this therapeutic state as well. That's the most interesting thing. Like when they have the costumes on so strongly that the costume is going to work in the therapeutic space as well.
Have you found
that's
that
like selling yourself,
couples, when things start unveiling?
Wait, start that over again, because you was
I said, do you find that sometimes you lose couples because things start unveiling?
True. Because I mean, what came immediately to mind is the family did not come to me for a domestic violence situation, and they were no longer together. However, the violence was very clear in the room, and they were there for their child. The court had sent them because they needed to come together for co-parenting situations, and it was just apparent that they were arguing that, first of all, the child was 10 and had been expelled from 4 schools.
Wow.
And there's no child that get expelled from 4 schools at 10 years old. Like, then nothing is happening at home. And so I asked the question. I said, I know this is not on the referral, but have you ever been aggressive to him? And has he, asking the reciprocal thing? And they threw themselves back in the couch. How did you know? Well, I've only been doing this for, 1,050,000 years. And you've kind of threatened each other in this 30 minutes that we've been sitting together. And they didn't realize that something that they had been threatening to each other. And so, yeah, they scheduled, but then canceled at that particular time, but they have come back since then.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So, which is interesting, but yes.
Yeah.
Have you experienced the same?
Yes, of course. Of course. Some people only want to, unpeel one or two layers.
Right. Or the
They
layer
don't.
that they told you about. You're not
That's
supposed to
right.
do what
That's
I
right.
didn't tell you about.
That's right. That's right. And I think a lot of that has to do with fear and a number of other things, because in some of these systems they are really, really closed.
I'm
Now she's
always
got a
peeling the
whiteboard.
onion. And that's the other part too, is I work with a lot of Caribbean families and I travel to the Caribbean and work in the Caribbean. So I know the cultures of that. And so yeah, what they had done, I guess would have been missed by somebody who doesn't work in the Caribbean. But yeah, I hang out on the beach with y'all. Y'all think I'm from some island. So yeah. I'm cousin island. They wasn't ready for that gusto. Yeah, I'm keeping real.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Doc.
Yeah.
She got the dry erase and the little index card situation going
Right.
on. You were saying something though.
Still being responsive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
You don't even remember what you were saying, right? That's that Patron sipping chat going on.
I don't remember what I was saying. I don't know. But I guess just open up the floor for.
Right. So we did have a comment in the chat, like, what if your partner's trying to leave, like in regards to them being, recognizing if the relationship is gone or whatever, they're trying to be gone anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, people always find an excuse that's appropriate for them.
Right.
That has nothing to do with their original decision.
And when it gets uncomfortable, they don't want to deal with that chapter of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They find a reason on how they still don't have to deal with that. And the reason the new relationship is going so well, I think I saw that posted. I don't know if it was in our group or not, that the reason the new relationship is going so well is because they don't know what your flaws are yet.
Oh, yes. Yes.
That's the reason why it's so glorious
I
on the
agree.
other side.
Yes. Yes. I talk about that all the time, especially in relation to affairs.
Right.
Of course, the other person is wonderful. They don't have to smell your stinking breath in the morning. They don't have to try to get you to help them pay bills.
Right.
They don't, they don't have the real you.
Right. Right.
So yeah, it's exciting and nice and all, but as Mary would say, that's just your representative. That's not
your representative.
That's not the real deal.
That's your stiletto and not your flat.
She said stiletto versus flat.
Versus the flat.
Everybody needs an exit strategy.
Yeah,
they do. And sometimes they're not even honest with how they gonna do their exit strategy. So it's like,
So what is the exit strategy?
Sometimes
I would think that telling someone that I think that we're going in different paths is such and this is me, easy thing, as opposed to making up a bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And extending your time outside the house and all of that, like, yeah.
I would think that that's easier instead of coming home every day and making up fights about nonsense so you could say I'm leaving.
Right. Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I would think
but that would be
easy.
But I'm gonna take a step back in that, because some people like the chaos.
No, yeah, that too.
I was about to say that the drama of it all.
The drama and the chaos, because if in the house that they grew up in argued and fussed and fought all the time, then that's what they enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they define as love.
Mm-hmm.
in a relationship, if you're not fussing and fighting all the time, and it don't have to always go to like domestic violence or anything like that. That could just be how it is. If they define love is that we got to be fussing and fighting all day long.
And I won't even go as far as saying that they enjoy it. They just don't know anything else.
Right.
So when there's some kind of conflict, that's what they resort to because that's all they know.
I'll agree.
I can't.
I can't see.
I can't. What is Al Green grits? I think I know, but I don't even. What is Al Green's grits? LaJoya.
When y'all talked about the drama and the fight, can you hear me?
Yes.
It's just like dance, like we talk about, like when people talk about the drama, the back and forth. Baby, I'm coming home. I'm gonna do right. I'm gonna do better. We gonna sit down and talk. I'm gonna treat you right. And then once they just get tired, and it's the hot water or it's the grits that's getting poured on you. Metaphorically, it happened in real life to him, but metaphorically.
Right.
They talk about it. They mention that. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. That's all.
But it's like the cycles that y'all talk about. The emotion is it's baggage. It's drama. It's like the back and forth, the hollering and screaming. You like Dr. Kristen said, they don't necessarily enjoy it. It's just something that they're used to, grown up in. It's just a part of them, and they don't know how to do different or recognize different at that point.
And then it's like, okay, do I break the cycle? Because the whole that we outgrew each other, did they learn that whole situation from other family members as far as the cycle of seeing their aunts, their uncles, their parents just having these unhealthy attachments, these unhealthy connections to adults that were married or not married, but just together all the time and just not connecting well? And that, but they paid the bills. They, they interacted when they had to, but it wasn't necessarily the best relationship that they could be.
Seen a lot of those.
A whole bunch of them.
Where people will refer to them like, oh, my aunt and uncle been together for 30 years, but the relationship hasn't been healthy for 25.
Right.
Long term does not always equal a good relationship.
I'm trying to think of that last movie, and I don't even know if it was really the last movie that Denzel Washington did, that I know it raised a whole bunch of conversation, and he worked in, I don't know, like a factory or something. He brought the money home, but he had an affair. The woman ended up passing away, but they had a baby, and the woman cared for the baby. And that brought up a whole bunch of conversations around, would you care for the baby like after that relationship? Which I thought about that when you posted something, Doc. But it was something about, like, is that a relationship that he outgrew, or was he just given permission to do what he wanted to do and she accepted it? I don't know the name of that movie though.
I don't remember. I thought
I don't. It was Fences. Yeah, it was Fences. Like the movie.
I never saw that.
I don't think he necessarily outgrew the relationship. He just needed some spice. And all his wife ever did was come home. He gave up his.
Oh, we lost LaJoya.
Right. He did give up his check and did whatever, she didn't have spice. It wasn't spice going on in the relationship. He did give up his check, and that was pretty much like whatever.
Yeah,
that was it.
So, like, he gave up his check. He went. You do that every week. What's different? You got dinner on the table, but we gonna take a dance? Can we take a walk? Can you jiggle or shake something? Like, after a while, you give a little spice. She could have took the arm that she was cooking with. Something.
Right. And she was always tired.
And she gave all her time to the church. There's nothing wrong with that. But
there was no date.
Like, you still gotta do. It's like you still gotta give something like what made that person fall in love with you? You just can't let that go. That's all I'm saying. I don't think he outgrew it. He just wanted to have some fun, like the same old every week.
And that raises a question that LaJoya is kind of hitting on. What's the difference between outgrowing and other stuff?
Yes. Yep.
So be clear on the other stuff, Doc.
Meaning you're a cheater. Meaning you knew this is not a good match. Or it became abusive, or you fell out of love, because that's not outgrowing. Sometimes people do fall out of love. So those kinds of things. So what's the difference between just outgrowing each other and some of the other things that could break up a relationship?
So we just labeled it differently, but it's new behaviors, but it's really the same thing. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
Because I'm not saying, I don't think that you've outgrown a relationship if you just like sleeping with other people. You don't have no business in a relationship, period. You should just be single and sleep with who you want to sleep with.
Right.
I think I get what Doc's saying. It's outgrowing versus this or that. So, to me, well, I think we had to ask the question, what is outgrowing? Have you done everything possible to mend what's missing in your relationship? And if you've done that and it's not going anywhere, then is it, outgrowth, or is it the fact that you have, like you said, Doc, you have other interests? So what does outgrowth look like in a relationship?
I think that it means that you are going in two separate directions purposely. Not just basic interest, but because if you have different interests, you can still be a good, healthy couple.
Right.
And have different interests.
Right.
But I guess the example is the one, I don't know if I mentioned this last week or during some other show, is a couple that I had worked with who kind of grew up together. As they got together as teens, and young adults, you have one type of lifestyle. They enjoy smoking weed together and hanging out and going out and partying, all that kind of stuff. He kept doing that. She ended up enrolling in college, getting her degree. He's still home getting high.
Right.
And she is like, now she in the job market.
Right.
He's still home getting high.
Right.
With his boys every day. I think that's outgrew. Like she outgrew him.
Right.
She outgrew him.
Right.
But I think when we talked about that, we was like, was that a choice, or did she really outgrow him? Like, because she could still do the same thing socially if she wanted to.
Yeah, she could have, but
her vision was different.
Yes.
Her vision was different.
Yes.
But some people could use that for vision.
You're right, Mary.
I'm just trying to help me. I don't know. When the clients tell me when they try to justify different situations.
So maybe if she stayed home and smoked more, it'd have been all right.
Right.
They might be together at that point.
Oh Lord.
That's exactly what he would say if they was in the counseling session, that we was all right. This is what was happening, and her vision would be clear if she would just sit down and we could have this different conversation.
But what's funny? He never said that. He said now she thinks she better than me. Ooh. That's what he said.
She could be better than me if you just take this puff, and then we'd be all right.
I mean, they could have upgraded to Cuban cigars.
Right.
Maybe it would have felt better. I don't know.
Oh man.
I'm sorry, I couldn't let that one go. I know what my clients tell me. I'm like, how did you find out about my office?
And clearly, it should just take a hit, right?
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Like, Doc, we wouldn't even have to come to you no more.
That's why she outgrew him.
Right. But I think I do remember last week, I think it was you, Camp, that said she already had her, it was either you or April who said that she already had her foundation laid from the way she was raised, and you know, she just really got on her right path, I guess. Because they did come from two different backgrounds.
Right. Already. But there was something that magnetized them together.
Right.
And I mean,
sometimes opposite attracts.
And sometimes
she thought he was so cool.
Yeah, he was cool. He was fun. He was that roller coaster, you know, like all of that.
Yes. Yes.
And so we can't take that away because, you know, with some stuff that really worked.
But now, you know, when it's time to quote unquote be adults and move forward with our lives, it's like he wasn't there.
Right.
Because his version of being an adult is different.
Yes.
You know, and possibly even wherever her career has her involved in, you know, she might have the risk of a random screening. And so she's not willing to jeopardize what she has taken so much to earn to be taken away because she had a wonderful weekend with her partner. Despite whatever elements that she can, you know, engage in really quickly to, you know, whatever. I don't want to say that on the Facebook.
Okay.
So, did anybody answer that question about the something about divorce? I saw something earlier.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So I had posted that and actually got a lot of traction on it in regards to. Wait, I'm going back to it. That it not being a tragedy. Is that the one you're talking about? I'm not encouraging divorce, but it's not a tragedy. It's a tragedy staying in an unhappy marriage.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one.
And it doesn't have to travel around the page like that.
The reality is not all marriages can be or should be saved.
Right.
Amen.
And sometimes you end up marrying somebody that really shouldn't have been your partner to begin with.
Yeah.
And you end up missing signs that, you know, end up connecting you, or, you know, everybody has a season, a moment, and a lifetime. So in that season, they were the best partner for you. But once that season ends, it's time to transition into something different. I know I have one friend who shares her story all the time that she got married in her early 20s. And for her, you know, maybe not for everybody, that's what I'm clarifying, for her, she's like, she wished somebody would have told her that at her age, that wasn't the best decision to make. You know, and that they should have at least waited, you know, a few more years before making that particular decision.
Everybody's path of development is different. So, you know, it may not have been a good choice for her, but whereas someone else at that same age, you know, matching up to their partner, it works out for them. So, you know, it's a joy. Put up your Depends flashcard.
I was trying to hear. I was looking. I was trying to hear.
Your Depends card.
There you go.
Sometimes.
That'll work too. Yeah. So it varies.
I mean, I just think some people, how can I say this? Some people, I don't want to say some people shouldn't get married, but depends on who you're trying to marry. You shouldn't marry him. You know, standing at the altar, you feel it. It's
Lord.
in your bones. You can feel the vibration in your ears. Don't marry him. Don't marry him. But you want to be married so bad, you say yes, and you be like, I do. But do you really? Or you just I do into the wedding at the moment?
Right.
I'll say
the other side is raggedy. You know you don't mix with the family.
Right.
But you try to give it all you got, and all you get is headache.
And it's like you do get signs. Like it's like you get signs, but you choose to follow them or not follow them. I'm thankful that I followed the signs that I saw with the individual, of which I was being guided to, I guess, though, if those are the nice politically correct words.
You were strongly persuaded.
Yeah, I was being guided to or persuaded to. I mean, and I guess, because I wouldn't have met any of you lovely people had I not been guided to, because I probably would not have been in Philadelphia. But yes, I'm glad that I saw the light, Carol Ann. Carol Ann. But it could have been a really compromising situation, because in a situation I had friends that was like, oh no, you coming to Philly and you don't have any family, this, that, and the third, you need to just go ahead, girl, go ahead. I saw the signs and was like, run, Forrest, run.
LaJulia won't say it, but I'll say it. Some people shouldn't get married,
right?
And some people shouldn't stay married. A lot of times people are staying in relationships thinking they're just not working hard enough.
Right.
Oh my God.
And they're taking on all
I do have a story
and the blame for why it's not working. So if you're listening to this conversation and you're like, okay, am I outgrowing my marriage? Have I outgrown it? And you're trying to take on all the responsibility is not yours alone.
Exactly.
You got to the point that you are with a contribution from who it is that you are connected to, but then also what has been poured into you before you got to that relationship. So it might be work that you have individually that you need to work on, but then also what you have permitted to enter into your energy space as well. Acid. Okay, acid.
What?
I gotta be acid though. Not just toxic energy. Jeez. So we were trying to talk about what the actions and the behaviors look like, though, of outgrowing your relationship, as well as, I guess, divorce not being a tragedy.
Gotcha. Well, I had a friend. I knew he shouldn't have married somebody, but I felt like it wasn't my place. He was like years later, like maybe 2 or 3 years later after they got married. He pulled me aside. He was like, I feel like you have something to say now that you didn't say before. I said, it's not my place. It's your life. He goes, why? He was like way older than me, maybe 12 years. He was like, why you didn't tell me? I said, it wasn't my place. He was like, I shouldn't have married her. I said, no, I didn't want to tell you that. He was like, why? I was like, how can I say this? I said, she's not me.
She's not
on
the strength that it should have been you. Right.
Okay.
He wanted it to be me, looking for somebody like me, but I'm already taken. We were friends. There could have been something way a long time ago, like before I met my husband. But he didn't step up to the plate and say anything. But he was way older than me. But whatever, here nor there, family, friends, like a brother, whatever. Way older, but it was just like, but he ended up marrying somebody who he messed with a long time ago before this first marriage. And they were actually in love, but she was married to somebody else. They had kids and everything. But now they're married now, and he's married to the person he should have been married to. But at the time, she was his second marriage. At the time, she was just too scared to tell her husband, who was away, he was at war, to tell him that she wasn't in love with him anymore. Because she was like, he's coming back, PTSD. Let me just raise these kids. And when they get older, then So his second marriage, she actually married somebody he was in love with. Like, and I was like, yeah, she's for you. Y'all fit. He was like, you don't have to say anything. I said, yeah, I know. So just like the situation, like sometimes like people be like, oh, I shouldn't intervene, but I feel like if you're close to that person, maybe you should intervene. But if y'all have a certain relationship, maybe you should just take them to the side away from everybody and be like, is this really what you want to do? Some people may be, oh, you're jealous, you're being a hater. No, is this really? Just think about it.
I had a friend that was like that too, and when he finally shared that, like we finally shared that he was in a relationship, I was like, oh, okay, cool. And when he introduced me to her, because him and I were such close friends, she was not good with us being close friends. And so I was like, okay, I know my role. Let me fall back. Because I don't want to mess up nobody's love relationship. But when they weren't working out, he called me and he was like, you didn't tell me that I shouldn't marry her. I was like, that wasn't my role. And he said, but you saw it. Like it wasn't my role to do that. You were in love with her. You said that this is what you wanted to do. And he said, but what's the signs that you saw that it shouldn't have gone that way? And when I began to share what I felt, he was like, I wish you would have said something. I said, that's not the role of a friend to share that, because it comes across in a different way. And he, unfortunately, it became we're fine, but the relationship, ending just became really, really toxic. And it's like unfortunate, to see someone that you care about experience that. But people can be very harmful, in those situations to people who are very, very nice, and you might be biased because you're close to those people, but it's like, you don't know what's going on in those situations either. But people outgrow each other for different reasons.
I mean, I guess one of the ways you can investigate is looking at your values and see if you still share the same values.
Right.
So you talking about people who are in committed relationships?
Yeah, because we said the question was, what are the actions and behaviors of outgrowing? What does it look like?
Right.
So usually it starts with a change. I won't say starts with, but a contributing factor is a change in values.
Yeah, but how do you recognize that the values have changed?
Behaviors.
Here she go. Values, morals, and highlights.
Behaviors.
Okay.
And you do behaviors, but also talking about the various things in your relationship life.
Right.
Something as simple as raising children. If your value is corporal punishment because that's how you were raised, and your partner is on a different if your partner thinks differently, then you have a difference in a value.
That's big.
So
how you raise your kids,
yeah, that's very big, very big. If your partner doesn't value money and spends it as soon as they get it in their hands, and you want to invest and you're trying to save because you want to, you want to buy a business or something like that, that's going to be a problem. We're going to have to talk about that.
So what if they had, we talked about a couple weeks ago, though, my account, our account, and your account, and I'm spending from my account, not the our account.
Well, if you spending your money, you do you. I mean, in my opinion, I've seen other people had so many different opinions on that particular subject.
Yeah, but that means it's never a reserve then. Because if our account and then it's your account, I don't know.
I mean, if we both add into our account a nice
But you could
percentage
be
of
adding
our
more.
income, huh?
You could be adding more to the hour account
You
if you
could
wasn't.
be. Yeah, you could be,
but you need them shoes.
At some point you come together, like Mary, if there's you want to come together, I mean, you have a goal in mind. At some point you come together and you say, well, I think we need to explore, this particular goal. At some point you come to the table and you talk about those things, right? Okay. So,
Yes, you do.
and then you change what the accounts look like. Someone might need, I mean, both sides, if you have your separate account, need to add in more into the hour account.
But if you trying to have a house, if you trying to buy a house in a ritzy suburb and your mate is cool with living in the projects,
right?
That's a big difference.
Right.
That's totally different. Yeah.
That's a big difference. And they're not going to add more to the pot because they're happy right where they are, and you shouldn't be bougie trying to move out there.
Bougie.
Okay. Yeah, that's what people say.
That sounds like the conversation of you just need to take this puff pass and your vision is gonna be all right.
Right, but I even think about my situation. I'd be like the main job money goes into the joint account. The second and tertiary and side gigs, my account.
Named it tertiary. Everybody don't know what tertiary means.
I'm sorry. Okay, so the third account, like if I have we have like business checking, business savings, which is joint, and then we have a personal checking, personal savings separately, and we got investment accounts and annuities and all that good stuff. But I would say my savings, my personal savings, my tertiary account. Third in line.
Okay. So when the value-based conflict is too much, how would people understand when it's become toxic or too toxic?
Good question.
That's a very good question. I'll say this, and then I'll let the rest of you chime in. If it doesn't feel good, it's not good.
Right.
We have to start listening to ourselves. If it doesn't feel good, it's not good. I think we have to listen to ourselves.
Yeah. Never.
You know what toxic feels like to you.
I'm what Doc said. She said if it doesn't feel right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what toxic feels like to you. Yeah. Even though I'll say some people,
it becomes too much, like that it's not feeling like good. Like you always feeling tired and depleted. Like as soon as you begin to think about it, you got dry mouth, like migraine headache is emerging, your stomach is tight. Like let's be clear on the behaviors and the signs that you starting to feel every time this person or thing enters into the space. Like you got.
We had this conversation 10 years ago.
Well, you knew Doc 10 years ago. You knew me about 5 years ago.
Oh my God.
But yeah, Mary, you're right. When you're in your car, in your driveway,
and
you want to just turn back around.
You know.
You're like, don't I have another client to go see? Do I want to eat out at the Olive Garden or like go to the diner real quick before I walk in?
And you're saying to yourself, every time that person open their mouth, I wish they shut the hell up.
Listen, I just finished doing a recognizing the toxic behavior workshop. And the conversation after the 3 days was, can I just punch the lady? No. Then I'm so glad that she asked that question. But the reality was like, if you punch the lady after we done had 3 days talking about how you recognize the toxic behavior, you end up feeding into letting that other person that's creating the toxic energy win.
Mm-hmm.
So when you understand how they win, then you got to go the opposite direction.
Right.
Amen.
And be better to yourself and not allow them to deplete what is your positive energy and your affirmation of knowing how to not feed into the conflict.
Amen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Tanya said,
you wanted to punch the person. I was like, did you just pay me?
No,
Pay me to tell you not to punch the person?
No.
Basically.
That is not regaining your power back.
No, that's not what that is. But yes, trust the feeling. Yes.
Yep.
You have to.
So we were born with 5 senses, but we through experiences we gain that 6th sense.
Right.
And Doc, like you said, we have to trust our feelings, and that feeling is that 6th sense.
Yes.
We ignore it so many times, though.
All the time.
And
because we don't trust ourselves. We don't trust ourselves.
You're right. We don't trust ourselves.
No, not at all.
And we allow stigmas and the filters of life to dictate what we trust. And those filters of life, and we be hyping
some of those filters of life are the things that's telling you you're not working hard enough. You're not doing enough to stay in that relationship. You got to work harder. Don't you know you have to do this and you have to do that?
Listen, if the filter could be in my mirror when I'm looking to see if the outfit could fit me right, listen. Can that filter go with me in all my relationships? Definitely.
When you know polyester, you try to make stretch like spandex. It's not working.
It ain't working. Spandex can only go so far, and the fact that they
sell go farther than polyester.
Right, but the fact that they gotta sell spandex in a small, medium, or large, and then now extra large, 2X or whatever, like that's when you know it's going too far.
Well, no, spandex going 3X, 4X now.
It's a filter. No, if it go into, I don't even want to say what size, because then that would be me body shaming, and that's not my intention. But whenever it has to go to whatever number it goes to, that's when you need to consider an alternative treatment or alternative reaction and response to how you dealing with whatever the real underlying issue is, and peel back that onion and deal with that. Like that concept, you just gotta look at it from a different perspective, because like it just really something else is happening.
So Tanya asks, can therapy help people resolve value differences?
Ooh, Doc.
I think it can.
That's a big
people, but
you think so?
I think so. I think so, because but it depends on how strong people, what the value is and how strong someone is holding on to it. And this is when you start talking about deal breakers. Because some values are a deal breaker. If you are a staunch Christian and you want your family to go to church every week and be involved on the boards and all that kind of stuff, and your partner is saying, no way, I don't believe in God, that might be a deal breaker. Right. So that's an extreme difference in values that cannot be compromised on for someone.
Right.
For somebody else, it might be, I'm all right with that. You don't have to.
Right.
So it depends on the couple and how strongly they're holding on to those values and where they can, really compromise.
Right. Because even the fact of going to therapy might be a value breaker. Like, you know, it might be a value deal breaker in the sense of people might see that as a social construct that goes against, you know, who it is and what it is that they utilize for being a change agent to their family system.
That's like trying to be okay. So, for example, you talk about therapy being a change agent. Like, I think sometimes people look like that, like they look at church. Oh, you trying to change me? You trying to save me? You trying to take me under? You trying to give me a new way of life? So it could be many things: church therapy, other things that people are just not willing to shake because for them that is a deal breaker. But what if you really want to be with that person? But then you got to break down yourself to be with that person. But some people do,
right?
Yeah,
like break down their values
all the time. Yes, all the time.
The thing too to think about is that whereas I'm gonna use the example that Doc and I work well together, right? But Doc and I have similar philosophies, and we have probably very different philosophies as well. So she may say, okay, no, you need to go see Mary. And I might be like, oh, no, you need to go see Doc. Because it might be something that somebody presents to me that I'll be like, I might be able to help you up until letter F in the alphabet, but then G through Z, she is a better fit for you. So with saying that, you have to be able to select the best candidate for your value system. And who you think it is may not be who you match up with. So, you know, you got to be very mindful of that. So when you are shopping value matches, you need to make sure that you ask those right questions. So if you're trying to repair something, ask the right questions, because I make sure that I ask people what are they looking for so that they're not wasting their value assessment when they're coming to services with me. Just because I really don't want to waste anybody's time, because I am going to ask you those real tough questions so that you can resolve your issues. And if you ain't trying to peel back no onion layers, I'm not the
Mary
for you.
Yeah, so it's possible. It's possible.
It made me think of something
and I still think
the other day. I gotta tell you about it.
So what are some of the ways that
What happened, Camp?
No, I'm listening.
Oh.
No.
So I was gonna ask, what are some of the ways you can repair a relationship that seems to be going into a outgrowing phase?
Wait, say that again.
that wasn't put together, right?
Well, I got the question.
You got it?
Yeah, I got your question. How you repair something that's that's in the outgrowing phase?
Oh, okay. I'm glad you got
it. Go. There we go.
Now, what you?
That was what I meant. Yes. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
I'm gonna sip then.
Okay, so when you said that, I thought about I had a situation, and I just thought prepping life, prepping for the future, and I let the person know this is what I'm thinking. We agreed to move forward and try to fix this thing, but if that's not what you, because like you're saying one thing, your actions are saying another, and that's what you're not trying to do. Then I need to move around, because I'm not waiting on you to get it. You got it. You just don't want to do. You just don't want to try. You just don't want to work. Just being simply married. Okay, I can marry anybody. That's here nor there.
No,
but
that's
if you want to,
don't say it's not here nor there. That's here.
If you want if you want a solid marriage, just with who? Maybe how old am I? This is maybe 9 years ago. I don't know. It's been a long time. Like if this what you say you want, it needs to follow suit, because I'm not looking at what you're saying. I'm looking at what you're doing. you're not necessarily doing nothing bad, but you're not necessarily working at it either. You've had concerns. I've made my concerns. We've sat down multiple times and talked. Like, if this is not going anywhere, let me step back and let me go somewhere. And it wasn't about being with somebody else. That wasn't
right. So a conversation is in order.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. That's where it's tough.
And it was something that was said earlier when you was talking, and I was like, okay, we need a sip and chat table. Like, I don't know how we would call it, like a sip and chat table, like to really put stuff out there. You know, like we say, the pink elephant in the room. Like, we need to put it on the table in regards to how it is that we confront certain things, to just say, okay, what is it that we need to talk about that's going to make this particular issue better? You know, like, how can we grow back together, or what is it that we need to do to repair or prepare for our separation?
Yeah.
Because, you know, there are structured separations. You know, it doesn't always have to be that we throwing a chair out the window and I need you to hop right out of it, you know.
Right, yeah.
With the jagged glass. Like, it don't have to be that aggressive.
I agree.
Or even though that's the way the movie
look. Yeah, but I think when we started looking at that way, like you said, it was very very amicable. It wasn't like bad or anything. Wasn't going to get divorced, but I mean, if we had to take some time away from each other, it was what it was. But I think when we started pulling back the layers and looking at what it took, I mean, I didn't want it to go there, but it is what it is. So at that point, like a aha bulb went off in his head, like, oh dang, if this happened, we wouldn't have a life that I say I want. Not me, but him. Like the life that I did never imagine my life like this, but this is what I want now. I got to do better. I have to really change my outlook, because it's just not about me anymore, you know. But I had to do the same thing, the same work. So a lot of growing pains, but it definitely came out on the other side. Like, okay, we have this renewed partnership that we're really looking at. It's just not marriage is just not a business. It's just not about love. Yes, it's about a legacy and generational, but like, how we're gonna move this forward. Like, we're best friends. So how are we gonna do this? We're gonna always be best friends, but in terms of, I'm not looking for a roommate. If I want a roommate, I can bring in my sister or brother. You know what I'm saying? So really, like, just honing in on stuff. And I think what turned it around, you know, you can keep saying something forever, but he heard it from a certain particular type of man, and it made sense to him at that point. And we was actually going to like a couples Valentine's thing we do at the church every year sometimes, back in the couples ministry, whatever. It was actually Pastor Wilder. When Pastor Wilder spoke, it really hit home. I wouldn't have never thought that, but you just never know. People get their aha moments at different times.
Absolutely.
But it was specifically for marriage,
who are not local to the Philadelphia area. Pastor Wilder is a very well-known pastor. I was just saying that for the listening audience that's not in the area, because we got some people from different areas.
Yeah, but it wasn't from a biblical standpoint. It was from a clinician standpoint.
Imagine that.
In terms of relationships with marriage.
Okay.
Imagine that. Always a ghost author somewhere. April, what you got?
You making me laugh every night.
I'm sorry, because I'm just imagining who the ghost author is.
When I go back to the question that Doc asked, you know, how do we repair outgrowth? For me, like she said, it takes conversation, and then I have to look at what it is that I want, what it is that I'm willing to give up, you know, and what is it that, you know, the other party, you know, their side, what it is that they want and want to give up. And obviously, you know, I mean, these are elements of compromise. So, um, what does it take to repair that?
You got the yes card.
I got the yes card. I was looking down. Okay.
Yes, I had to let you know.
I was looking down. So for me, what it takes to repair really depends on, again, you know, what do we have in common? And, you know, again, how much am I willing to give up or sacrifice, you know, for that common? What they're willing to give up and sacrifice for the common. So, you know, again, it depends on where we are. You know, it's negotiation time.
Yes.
The way I see it, it's negotiation time. So, you know,
I agree with that. And negotiation time is often led to the divorce lawyer with irreconcilable differences.
Right.
Well, it depends. It depends on if you have level-headed people. If you have people that are not willing to change, you know, they're very insistent on getting what they want, you know, being selfish rather than, you know, what it is, you know, again, looking at the common goals. If they're excluding that, then yes, you are okay. Let me hire my attorney, you know. But if you you know, I agree. You're looking at those divorce terms. You're looking at a different negotiation. You know?
Yes.
But if you're looking to save your marriage, if you're looking to, you know, extend your marriage, change your marriage, or whatever, you really have to sit down and look at the, you know, negotiating. Okay, what can I give up? What can I live without? You know, if it's something, you know, if it's a goal that you have and they're just not willing to, okay, to give into or to offer support, then then it's time to have a different conversation.
Well, I have a question, April. So I like how you said extend. Should you extend if it's going to end anyway? Should you still try to repair it?
I'm
Are
sorry,
you sure that it's going to end?
Right.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it doesn't have to end, but is it worth extending? Like, if the damage is so, I mean, anything can be repaired. But sometimes
I'm sorry, say
there is forgiveness. But go ahead. No, I'm just saying sometimes it's for some people it's certain things are hard to come back from.
I agree. I agree.
In general. So how do you determine if you extend or just end it?
It depends on what's involved, you know. Again, those, you know, issues where you cannot come back from, you know, for me is don't put your hands on me. You can't come back from that, you know. You cannot come back from that. That's with me. That
okay.
You know, so I think that's an individual decision that everyone has to make. You know, what are their limits? You know, so again, it varies.
But well, for you, that's a deal breaker.
Right, exactly.
But when it comes to things that aren't deal breakers, but these are values that you hold, I think there can still be some conversation, you know, and especially around gratitude, forgiveness, appreciation, you know, and looking at those specific areas where there's a problem and finding out, can I forgive this person for this particular thing? Can I get past this? Does the things that make me grateful in this relationship outweigh the things that aren't looking so good?
It depends.
Yeah, it depends. You're right. It depends.
And I'm gonna go back to my deal breaker. Okay, so the hitting. Okay, it depends on where you hit me, how you hit me. If you just flat out just punch me and I rock out on the floor, okay, we're done. If you push or shove me or something like that, bodily harm to me is a deal breaker. But again, it depends. It depends on what that first contact was. If there's a second, if there's a pattern, that we're done. We're done. So
okay, so I feel like go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So there was a comment about healing. I feel like you can forgive and heal, and we can be friends versus us being married.
Right.
You can heal. They don't mean you have to stay in a marriage.
I have to agree with you there.
You can heal,
for sure,
and still have relationships or friendship. I don't know.
I don't even know if I could be friends, depending on the. Again,
no friends. Okay.
Depending on what it is, it depends.
Everybody has a different,
Yeah,
people have different deal breakers. I know people who are okay with infidelity, as long as there's as long as it follows some kind of rules, like don't give them no money, or don't let me catch you, or don't let nobody else see you.
That's permission.
Yeah, right.
I can tell you, I'm tough.
That's too much permission and leeway, right?
Yeah, for all that.
You said what?
I said yeah for all that. What's the like?
That's permission. I don't know, like that. Oh gosh, y'all said so much. And it's like, I guess I'm torn in regards to the whole hitting thing, the way that it's been described. And the reason I'm torn is because the way it was said and the way that I work in regards to violence prevention in relationships, it was said as if it's easy to get out of those type of situations, and it's not as always as easy as it was described.
Right.
And so I feel like I feel responsible to make that comment.
Gotcha.
That is not as always as easy to get out as described. So I want to be just respectful to that in that regard. That yes, if you are early on in recognizing, because usually the abuse starts way before the actual physical stuff gets to that place.
Right.
So if you recognize it before it becomes physical, then great. And then you're able to make that different type of exit plan.
Right.
Because when it becomes physical, it's usually after you've already endured so many other layers to what that physical abuse looks like.
Okay.
And so usually, like when you add the faith layer to it too, is another layer that could also look like abuse. I had to, take another step aside as well, because you often don't look at faith or religious platforms as an abusive situation as well, because as is written, the way it's written, it doesn't condone divorce. What you mean it don't it's a controlled social construct that doesn't give you permission. But if the relationship has outgrown itself, why would you have to stay in a situation that's no longer serving the purpose of which initially was ordained or structured in that way?
Mm-hmm.
You have to do what's best serving of you.
Exactly.
And so when you say faith in helping to reconcile values, you have to think of what is going to be mental stabilizing for yourself, and faith in serving yourself, or faith in serving the creator in a way in which is going to reconcile value of yourself and what is going to be best serving, not necessarily yourself, but the universe in a way that you're healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And that you're creating balance and reciprocity, and whatever that reciprocity looks like for you, the Ujima, the unity, the, like you may have to recreate and redefine what faith looks like for you so that you can be safe.
Mm-hmm.
Is that politically correct enough? I don't know. Doc is giving me this look and eyebrow.
No, that's good. That's
okay.
Good.
I don't want no trouble. And I'm not really trying to put like no particular perspective out there or be offensive in any type of way. I'm really just trying to be very general in that aspect, but be respectful in the sense that, you have to be mindful on how you say stuff, and ask people what is their value perspectives when it comes to interjecting their beliefs and their value systems, and how is it that they want to guide their reactions and responses using that, because it becomes tricky, because are they willing to step outside the box to be safe and have a life and relationship beyond that, and go from there.
That's good.
That was good.
That's deep, Miss Mary.
Yeah,
That was good.
I try to be safe at all times.
Like poetry night.
You said what?
I felt like I was like, you know how poetry night, you just be in sync. You be like, yes.
Yeah.
All right. I come in peace. I come in peace. I come in peace. I was looking at the eyebrows of Doc like, oh God, I'm about to be in trouble.
And I was watching. I know.
I was like, oh no, she turned her head and
you guided it right.
I don't know.
You guided it right.
I got another Doc watching me too. I was like, oh God, let me watch the phone. I don't want to say their name, because then they be like, oh gosh, she done called me out.
You're funny.
Listen, I love my family and friends in the field. I do.
I know Doc asked the question, how do we repair growth? Right?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, you did it, but I'm going to put a different spin on it.
Spin it on.
Well, no, never mind.
No, please, April. I just want to make sure.
I was waiting to hear what you had to say, April.
Yes, I want to hear.
To repair outgrowth.
What?
Do you even want it?
Yes.
Why? If you outgrow somebody, why do you want to repair it? What's there to repair?
Oh.
Good question.
You might not realize.
Wow. It's a good question. It calls for a lot of introspection.
Right. If you've outgrown a person, what is there to repair? Why would you want to repair it?
Mm-hmm.
You may fall back in love. I don't know.
You may feel responsible for.
I mean, there may be extenuating circumstances, like you got kids.
Right.
So you feel obligated to try to fix it, or you have a business together.
So are we obligated to
I don't think so, but these are some of the things I've heard. These are some of the reasons I've heard that people say they want to continue to work on it.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm just speaking devil's advocate. Like, why would you want to outgrow? I mean, remain in a relationship that you've outgrown.
And some people, like Camp said,
so children
think it could get better. maybe I will fall back in love.
And then some people have the obligation of their religious communities that say that they're obligated to stay there for whatever reasons that their religious communities say that they're supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and people, okay, I know. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think some
you don't
people
want
are
me to go there.
I think, but I think some people are committed to the covenant with God, covenant to the marriage and not the person, because they're like that. I made this commitment. I got to stick with it. Just like when Will Smith was married to his first wife, she told Will, "Why would you want to be married to somebody who don't want to be married to you?"
Right.
And it was like an aha moment for him. I was like, "You're right." So just like that, people is like, I made this covenant. Whatever the vows are for they are important to people if they are important, for rich or for poor, to death do us part, and all this other stuff. But I personally feel like God didn't call you to be stupid. So in terms of when I mean that, I mean we've been given common sense. We were born with 5 senses, and through our experiences, like April and Doc said earlier, we have this 6th sense. It's in us that sometimes we may listen to, we may not. So I think it's more like, I don't know. It's just like I feel like it's hope. There's nothing wrong with hope, but hope gives people the drive to try just one more time.
True.
Like the extension of the person in relationships. I'm gonna give it another go. I'm gonna try one more time. This time may be the time. It's all like it's like a gamble, like a lottery, like kind of like you're taking a risk every time.
It's a scratch off.
So, scratch off. Okay, so Mary saying the scratch off.
I got jokes tonight. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you do.
let me scratch that itch. It got so many. They give you like 5 each line, like a quick pick. 15 chances.
Quick pick, yes.
Oh Lord.
I got 14 left. Woo! I got 13 left. This might be the one. It's that hope.
And it's only fruit punch in here.
It's nothing wrong with that. But that just shows you the extension of how far we're willing to go for something that may not be reciprocated. We may not get back that love, that respect, that admiration, like the things that we need or want in a relationship.
Very true.
Like, oh, my grandparents, like you said, my aunt and uncle been married for 30 years.
That's a long time.
But he sleep on the couch.
He okay with it though.
He got breathing issues. It's better down there.
But then it's like, oh, they've been married for 30 years. But Grandpa got another family around the corner down the street.
Like Fences.
Yes.
Like what, Mary?
Like the movie Fences.
Yeah, sometimes people value time over, I'll say quantity over quality.
Right.
Right.
Just like they talk about jobs, like it's better to be, well, you know, back in the day, it's better to be at the job for a million years because you get your 401k and all of that stuff.
The pension.
Right. That stuff don't even exist no more.
Yeah.
It don't. So have we identified the behaviors of outgrowing a relationship and what it looks like, the reasons to be in it, the reasons why not to be in it? Can you catch up and fix it and heal?
I think so.
If you puff past at one point and you excel past the person, what that looks like. When faith and so forth comes apart. What's this long dissertation say from Miss Denise Price?
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yes, that's wonderful.
That is wonderful. That's a great testimony.
Yes. That's great. I'm coming across so many people that the quarantine is showing them the opposite. Like, you need to run.
Right, that's what I said earlier.
Right.
Yeah, it's like they say, a baby will make you or break you.
Right.
I feel like quarantine will make you or break you.
It will. I agree with that, LaJoya.
Mm-hmm.
I think
yeah.
Because people were like, okay, well, who are you? Like, they were meeting the people who were in their house that they had been passing for so long. It was like, okay, wow, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we got a meet and greet. You've been here this whole time. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, they chose not to recognize that, like, what their mate brings to the table, like the goodness of their mate, like their interest and what they do well. But like, tell them, oh, you look nice today because you have on a regular shirt. I mean, I'm just saying something very simple. You comb your hair.
Right. Listen, that's an accomplishment for a lot of people.
Well.
Or that you recognize that your wife got a new ponytail. I'm just saying.
That's an accomplishment for a lot of people too.
They know that it is.
It is.
Because women be like, oh, he don't notice me. He just look at me like this. He just think I'm a Joe Blow off the street. But you take a shower.
If you got that bonnet on every day, you are Joe Blow off the street, because it's a bonnet at the ATM, it's a bonnet at the grocery store, it's one walking to the corner store. I mean, it's a bonnet everywhere.
I get it.
I mean, that depends on your zip code, but I'm just saying, it's a bonnet everywhere. Doc, what you got? I see Patron got you. What you got? And come on, the bundles. The bundles, listen, they got all kind of sales. They got all kind of sales coming into the email box. Like, quarantine is coming. We got the sales. Black Friday is coming. Come on.
Don't forget about the clip-in track. You put the comb in and clip, pop, and comb your hair over. You know.
People need to invest higher. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm serious.
They need to invest higher than the tracks. They need to invest higher.
They still sell those. That's all I'm saying.
They need to invest higher. That's all I'm gonna say.
I have
we see that. We see that. And I'm gonna just say that the people who got them tracks that you just described, they need to invest higher.
Oh, God.
So, ladies, is there anything else we need to cover before we wind down this conversation for this Sip and Chat Friday?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think we covered it.
All right. We did get a recommendation for next week's conversation.
Okay. What?
We got the recommendation for Soul Ties.
Woo! So
what
heavy.
Is that?
What is soul ties? Like relationships and soul ties?
Like,
it's like soulmate? Yes. Oh my gosh, Doc, the face expression.
Okay.
Is there such a thing?
I don't believe in that, but I mean, a lot of people do.
Well, okay, so even if it's not that way, there's our soul ties in the bedroom, and you can't move forward with your current mate or your current husband because you're tied to that person, second, third, and everything else, because you done did it so many times, and all you can think about is the other person.
That's the backstage conversation.
Well, they sent the video for us to review. I didn't get a chance to review it because I'm not a messenger person. So I will share, because it is a viewer that is with us right now. And they did share the video for us to view. So I will share it with you.
I would love to talk about it.
Yes. So we can consider that, Miss White. And you shall see when we post what we had for you.
All right now.
Right. And okay, here's another she giving us a hand clap. We have another dissertation comment before we close out. You can catch up and heal when
you draft apart.
I think that shit's supposed to be drift apart.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You can catch up and heal when you drift apart.
Okay.
Wow.
Right.
Okay.
Doc, you want to tackle that one? She said we are all okay, never mind.
Thank you, Denise.
Thank you so very much, Denise, for joining us this evening. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening. As always, we have rocked out this conversation talking about have you outgrown your partner and can you find your way back? We have went around the block and a ways and come back. So we hope that you have found some useful information talking about toxic ways, healing ways, confrontation, and a lot of other resources as well. So as always, you catch us live or on a replay. We appreciate you.
Yes.
So, let us know how you feel. And guess what? We will catch you next week, the day after a holiday promotes Thanksgiving. So you all enjoy your family, hopefully quarantine fashionable. So stay safe and we'll see you on Friday.
All right.
Take care.
Good night.
Oh, adios, amiga. That's that Texas fashionable. Be safe, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. You ain't got no sign, April?
Happy Thanksgiving.